Hey folks, welcome back to Your Inspired Life. I'm your host, Amy Hager. And if you're new here, I'd like to tell you about the show. I created Your Inspired Life as a place to come where you can come and get motivated on a daily basis to keep on track with your goals. It's always a challenge, it seems like, to stay on track and maintain those goals that we set for ourselves. So I put together Your Inspired Life as that resource to be the place to come for motivation on a daily basis, to improve your energy, to stay positive on the journey towards your goals. Because we know that it takes that solid foundation of good health habits, healthy diet, exercise and fitness, and a positive mindset to really succeed in achieving goals, whether that's a personal goal in your health or a life goal of your dreams. So here we are at Your Inspired Life, and this week we are in the preparation phase for our big 8-week accountability challenge. So next week is the kickoff for the Shape Up for Summer program that I've outlined for you guys to support you and keep you motivated for 8 weeks, have a structure and accountability to stay on track with goals. In this week, we are doing the preparation phases for that. And specifically today, we are going to go over my recommendations as appropriate goals for just about anybody to focus on for 8 weeks to improve health. So to start off with choosing an appropriate goal, I think this is achievable for just about anybody in the 8-week program. Looking at improved diet quality, increased fitness activity, and improved sleep are the 3 main goals that would be appropriate for the end of this program. And what that's going to bring you is increased energy, better mood, and improved body composition. So it's a win-win-win. Let's go through the 8 points that I outlined as far as appropriate behaviors now to focus on for the 8 weeks. The first one I recommend is a morning routine. Now, this sounds very general, but this morning routine is dedicated to helping you get organized for the day. I know we talk about getting organized quite a bit this week, but it's helpful if you have a specific time put away every day to just kind of outline your day, plan what you need to do, where that's going to go in your schedule, and how you're going to make it happen. Sometimes I'm able to do this in the evening time, but by the evening, a lot of us are kind of shot. We're not really thinking clearly anymore. We're not having our best ideas. So I find this, even if you can just put away 20 minutes in the morning, have your morning dedicated to some planning time, and that's going to help your day go more smoothly. Recommendation number 2. I mentioned this in a previous video, but this is to improve your diet. I recommend following the plate method for portion control. This is where you take your plate at each meal and you fill half of it with vegetables that aren't starchy. You use one corner for your starch and the other corner for your protein food. And if you follow that formula, it really does decrease calories, decrease processed food, decrease salt, and increases fiber, and that really goes a long way towards improving health outcomes, especially in the fields of blood sugar balance, blood pressure, and cholesterol. Recommendation number 3 is also food-based, and that is to choose snacks that aren't processed foods. Really doing your best to avoid the chips, the crackers, the cookies, but also those quick, easy to grab protein bars, granola bars, things that are just wrapped up in a package and they have a lot of processed ingredients. Try to instead to go for more whole foods based items such as yogurt plus fruit, or veggies and hummus, or something like edamame, which is a soybean snack that's high fiber and high protein. I think you'll see a big difference in feeling more full and satisfied by choosing whole food snacks, and you'll feel less addicted to them because they're not as high in salt and sugar. All right, now tip number 4 is my last nutrition tip. This is to avoid eating when you're not hungry. Sounds pretty basic, but a lot of times, so much, we are eating foods when we're not hungry that contribute to excess calories, and usually they're the calories that they're not very nourishing to us. Checking in with your hunger level before you have something to eat, that can be a great way to make sure that you're not overdoing foods when you don't need them. Now, tip number 5 is an activity goal. That is to increase your movement throughout the day by tracking steps, aiming for 10,000 steps a day. It sounds like a big number, but once you get in the hang of it, it really equates to about 3 to 4 miles of walking. So a lot of people get steps just intermittently throughout their day doing tasks and doing chores, but you might add in an official walk, or a jog, and you can count those steps towards it. But getting the 10,000 mark really indicates a certain amount of activity that your body's going through every day. So that, I feel like that can make a big difference. I remember a client that I worked with who had no idea that she was only getting around 2,000 steps a day, even though she was busy running errands, doing this and that, going around, and just felt like her life was really busy. In actuality, she was only getting 2,000 steps a day. And she got to the 5,000 and 6,000 step per day mark, she really started seeing some weight loss. Tip number 6 is a reinterpretation of the 10,000 steps a day. It's a more specific formula recommended by the Fitness Council, and that is getting 150 minutes of moderate to vigorous exercise per week. If you divide that up by 5 days, that's 30 minutes a day of moderate to vigorous. That's huffing and puffing. That's not just walking your dog and getting steps. That's taking it to the next level. And once you take it to the next level, you're going to see a lot more cardiovascular benefits. That's when your fitness improves, and that can really generate higher metabolism. If that feels achievable to you and appropriate, I would recommend that level as the next step beyond the 10,000 steps level for even more health benefits. And tip number 7 is one more activity tip as well, and that is to incorporate strength training into your week. In strength training, it has you might envision, big muscles and barbells, but strength training could be body weight. That's like push-ups and just using your own body weight for the resistance, or you might use dumbbells, or you might use resistance bands. These are all things that you can easily do at home, or you can use heavier weights like machines or barbells. But folks that do more strength training get even more health benefits than the cardiovascular benefits on top of it. So you can have improved bone density composition and a higher metabolism because you're really focused on keeping the muscle that you have and even building on that, which keeps your metabolism high as you decrease calories and lose weight if the weight loss is your goal. With a higher metabolism, you actually can afford to eat a little bit more without it showing up on the scale. Definitely recommend strength training as a foundation at least 2 to 3 times a week. And then my last tip, number 8, is to create and follow a bedtime routine. So not necessarily like putting on your pajamas and brushing your teeth like a toddler, but creating a routine of slowing down in the evening, decreasing screen time, and then creating an environment in your bedroom that's conducive to sleep. Some of the things that tend to interfere with people's sleep is too much screen time, too much stimulation before bed. So watching a really action-packed, violent movie might be a little bit too much. Or getting on social media and just being bombarded with lots of messages. Sometimes just kind of putting all that stuff away and doing something really calming can be improving. Also, consider other environmental factors. Is there lighting coming into your room that's maybe keeping you awake? Or how are the noises in your environment? How's the temperature? How's the bedding itself? Is your mattress comfortable? Is your pillow comfortable? Trying to improve all of those factors, and even going to bed earlier. There's that temptation sometimes to stay awake and watch one more show or watch 15 minutes of the show. Let's get to the end of the show before we hit stop. So trying to nip that in the bud and giving yourself an extra 30 minutes, 45 minutes can make real huge differences in your health. It can make weight loss easier. It can decrease stress levels and increase immunity. There's a lot more things about sleep that I want to talk about. So I think it's definitely worth spending 8 weeks working on improving your sleep. If you've been wondering about what you should focus on for the next 8 weeks, I think picking any of these things off this list would be worth your time. You might decide to pick more than one. I probably wouldn't recommend trying to get all 8 at once. You might find that you get a couple of these in the next few weeks and then you decide you might want to add on an additional one. So that's always available to you, but I wouldn't start with all 8 all at once. It's a little bit much to kind of manage all those details. But definitely let me know if one of those sounds good to you. I think just even starting with one would be an appropriate step for next week. But guys, I hope you enjoyed the list. And if there's any more that you're going to try for yourself, let me know in the comments. And we'll see you tomorrow. Bye.